Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on a recent conversation with Elon Musk.
That's right. We're aiming to pull out the core of his vision, his ambitions.
Exactly. Forget the usual headlines. We want to give you the concentrated knowledge, what drives him personally.
And also the technologies he's pushing. Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink.
And AI, of course. It's quite a range.
It really is. So let's get into it.
Okay, so where do we start? Maybe with the big picture. His legacy.
Yeah, I think that's a good place. What immediately grabs you is his perspective on, long-term impact.
Right. When asked about legacy, he doesn't really talk about personal glory, does he?
Not really. It's more about contributing, helping civilization advance,
Right.
adding to knowledge, capability.
Helping understand the universe, as he puts it.
Exactly. Being useful, fundamentally.
And this idea of being useful seems core. He mentions quite a contrast in reactions he gets.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, on one hand, people thanking him, genuinely grateful. Some even see buying a Tesla as, supporting his bigger goals.
Mm-hmm. A sort of alignment with the mission.
But then, the other side. Intense negativity, protests. He even mentions vandalism against Tesla products.
Wow. So it's really polarized.
It seems so. It paints a complex picture, how these big ambitions land.
That contrast is pretty telling, isn't it? The support shows many are buying into the vision.
But the opposition?
Well, it highlights real concerns, maybe about the methods or the potential consequences. Disruptive stuff often meets friction.
And for him, it's clearly personal. Tesla isn't just, an asset.
No, he calls it a child, something he's been raising for, over 20 years now?
Yeah. That kind of personal stake, you have to think that fuels the drive, the constant push.
Absolutely. Which brings us neatly to what's next for Tesla, some really big developments.
Like the self-driving tech, the unsupervised rollout in Austin.
Right. And the plan to expand it quickly, that's a massive step.
The idea of cars just driving around completely empty,
Yeah.
It's still pretty wild to think about.
It really is. It's a total paradigm shift.
He compared manually driven cars eventually being like seeing a horse today.
That's a powerful image, yeah. Makes you think about the scale of the change.
But making manual driving rare. Think about the hurdles. Regulation, safety.
Oh, definitely. Ensuring safety everywhere, in all conditions, that's a monumental engineering challenge. Handling the unpredictability without a human.
It is. And it's not just about personal cars, is it?
Right.
This could reshape deliveries, logistics.
Hey, how we structure our cities, maybe even our days. It's fundamental.
And then there's Optimus, the Tesla robot.
Ah, yes, the personal R2-D2.
A sort of general-purpose helper bot.
It feels like science fiction, but when you look at the AI and robotics work already happening at Tesla,
It seems like a logical next step, almost.
it does. But again, huge technical and safety hurdles. Getting a robot to do diverse tasks reliably and safely in, say, your home, that's tough.
Extremely tough. So we've got robots in the home, autonomous cars. But he's also looking way beyond Earth.
Which takes us to SpaceX.
Their current work is, launching rockets, Starlink internet. Pretty impressive stuff already.
Absolutely essential infrastructure, both for Earth and potentially beyond.
But the long-term goal, establishing a self-sustaining city on Mars, that's a different level of
It
ambition.
really underscores that commitment to humanity's long-term future, making us multi-planetary.
It's about safeguarding the species, isn't it?
Yeah.
Against risks here on Earth.
Exactly, and opening up new frontiers. It's profound, really.
From the cosmos right down to inside our heads. Neuralink.
Yeah, interfacing directly with the brain.
What's striking there is the focus on tackling really specific human challenges.
Like enabling people who've lost body function to control computers just by thinking.
Yeah, that brain telepathy concept. The early demos are apparently showing real promise, using those ultra-thin threads to read neural signals.
It's incredible. And then there's the sensory side, the blind sight device.
Aiming to restore vision potentially within the next year or so, even for those blind from birth.
That's the goal. I mean, think about the complexity. Stimulating the visual cortex accurately enough for actual sight, it's mind-boggling.
Truly groundbreaking. And potentially helping people with spinal cord injuries walk again.
By creating a sort of neural bridge, bypassing the injury.
It opens up huge possibilities for overcoming physical limitations, enhancing potential.
It really does. Makes you think about human augmentation, alleviating suffering.
And underpinning a lot of this, from robots to brain interfaces, is AI.
Which brings us to that crucial point about safety.
He really emphasizes this, programming AI with good values, specifically truth-seeking values.
Right. He stated pretty clearly that maximally truth-seeking AI is the most important thing for safety.
Why truth-seeking specifically?
The idea, I think, is that an AI relentlessly focused on finding and valuing the truth would be less likely to develop harmful or unpredictable goals. It anchors it.
So it's an ethical foundation built into the core programming.
That seems to be the argument, highlighting that as AI gets more powerful, these foundational values become absolutely critical. Avoid the potential dangers.
Okay, so pulling it all together. It's quite a connected vision, isn't it?
It really is. You see the threads connecting autonomous transport, robotics, space exploration, neurotechnology.
And the underlying AI that enables much of it, plus the focus on doing it safely.
And that central motivation seems constant, being useful in the furtherance of civilization.
It's the three-line, yeah. A unifying theme across all these incredibly ambitious projects.
It ties it all together.
So it leaves us, and you listening, with a pretty big question, I think.
Which is,
Given everything we've touched on, self-driving cars, robots, smart cities, brain interfaces, smarter AI, which single development do you think will ultimately have the most profound impact?
that's a tough one. They all feel potentially transformative.
Exactly. Something to really think about as these technologies continue to develop. Where will the biggest shift come from?
Definitely food for thought.